CTV News with Maya Johnson.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Well, it's Friday, blue skies and sunshine, and the Montreal Canadiens are back home tonight for Game 3 of the first round of the playoffs. So what a way to start the weekend. The Habs are taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Games 1 and 2 ended in overtime, and the teams are currently tied in the series. Kelly Gregg is at the Bell Center. Kelly, I see there's a lot of excitement behind you. So, yeah, there's clearly a lot of anticipation ahead of tonight's game.
Yeah, that was about the 50th ole, ole, ole chant I've heard so far today. I mean, puck drop is at 7 o'clock, but keep in mind this is Montreal, so fans got here around 4 o'clock. And let me tell you, there are hundreds of people outside the Bell Center right now, a sea of bleu, blanc, et rouge. And not only are Habs fans loud, but they are creative as well. I saw a couple, one was dressed as the Pope, the other a Cardinal with the Stanley Cup. Some kids dressed as Youppi, and a hearty chorus of boos every time someone in a Tampa Bay jersey walks by. Now, this is the first playoff game in Montreal so far this series, and for some fans, it's their first playoff game altogether.
We come from BC. We come from Calsgar, BC, and the Kootenays.
Holy
Hey, just got last night. First time to Montreal.
Well, welcome.
And we come to watch Montreal.
So this is your first Montreal Canadiens playoff game then,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, first game ever. Yeah.
Overwhelmed. I'm very excited. I've been waiting for that for a month now. We've just been waiting for the tickets to sell, and now really excited.
It's like going to church and not getting married. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful experience.
I'll have to trust him on that one. The series is split 1-1 right now. Montreal stole game 1 in Tampa, but in game 2, the Lightning held on to come away with the win in overtime. It was a physical game with 30 minutes of penalties between both teams in the first period alone. Now, had Montreal been able to steal 2 games on the road, it would be a very different series right now. But tonight, the Habs have home ice advantage, something the players are well aware of, according to TSN's Kenzie Lalonde.
Cole Caulfield said today on his way to the Bell Center he had to find a detour route because Peel Street is closed. He said he didn't mind it one bit. So the athletes are really starting to feel this excitement. And in speaking with them, I asked them, how does the crowd help them? And it differs based on each athlete. For Caden Gooley, he said the home crowd helps his physicality. When he lands a hit, he gets that adrenaline from the crowd. And for Cole Caulfield, he said, you know, he never gets tired when he plays at the Bell Center.
Now, if you do want to be part of that home crowd, I did look online just about 2 minutes ago, and there were tickets still available for this game. The cheapest ones were about $500, the most expensive $3,000, and as you can tell, some great ambiance inside and outside the Bell Center, and Maya will have more, including full game highlights at 11:30. I'll just let these guys take it away. It's Montreal, it's the playoffs. Welcome to springtime, everyone. All right, back to you.
We love to see it. That's Kelly Gregg reporting live for us from the Bell Center downtown, and we'll have more from another Kelly on the Habs a little later on the show. That's Brandon Kelly, who's going to be talking to us about what he's expecting at tonight's game. Turning to other news now, a long-standing labor dispute is over. 86% of Quebec's medical specialists have voted in favor of a new deal with the province. It comes just over a week after Christine Fréchette was sworn in as the new premier, and as Angela McKenzie reports, it seems Fréchette was a big part of the breakthrough.
After years of tense negotiations, a deal has finally been reached between the province's medical specialists and the government.
No deal was ever going to be reached with Mr. Legault.
The head of the Association of Radiologists, Dr. Grégoire Berneche, says Quebec's new premier, Christine Fréchette, was key to reaching an agreement. The deal includes an 11% pay increase over 5 years. 2% is contingent on specialists hitting performance targets, including collectively adding 80,000 new appointments and reducing the backlog of surgeries. Specialists had initially asked for a 17% increase, which they later reduced to 14.5%.
It is by far the lowest increases of public servants that we have seen in the civil sector in the past couple of years.
The premier says she's happy with the deal.
It's going to increase the access to Quebecers to health system. and therefore it will be beneficial to them.
Dr. Bernesh says specialists agreed to the deal because it includes new funding to help reach their performance targets. It includes $170 million annually to open more operating room hours and hire staff.
Now that they give us the means, everyone is on board with the targets. The government has now accountability on it, and the specialists have pay that is relying on it too.
Patients' rights advocate Paul Brunet is optimistic wait times for surgeries will drop, but questions where they'll find new staff.
To me, this is a challenge because we're already faced with a lack of resources, specialized resources in terms of, clinical nurses for surgeries.
In addition to the contract disputes, tensions between doctors and the government mounted for months over Bill 2 that would have changed how doctors in Quebec are compensated. Parts of the bill were later suspended.
The obstruction was personal by Mr. Legault, and it was ideological. So I'm very glad that Mrs. Fréchette, early in her mandate, could demonstrate that she is a closer.
On a deal both sides believe will lead to better care for patients. Angela McKenzie, CTV News.
And Christine Fréchette is heading to Washington next week. The Premier's trip comes at a critical time in cross-border relations. Sweeta Rassi has more.
Inside a meeting room with Quebec business leaders, Premier Christine Fréchette, along with Economic Minister Bernard Drinville, is listening to their concerns.
C'est que vous êtes très résilient.
From the aluminum sector to lumber, concerns are mounting over how U.S. imposed tariffs are squeezing Quebec's export-driven industries.
In terms of trade and economic relation, it is important for us to remind Americans that we are their most important client.
That's the message Fréchette will carry to Washington on Monday, where she will meet with elected officials and key economic players with the goal of strengthening the relationship and keeping the interests of Quebec top of mind.
We'll have to be very close to our American partners because things can change overnight.
Her trip comes as the future of Canada's trade agreements with the United States and Mexico is unclear. After the meeting, business leaders stress the stakes are high.
It is important to increase the other markets that small businesses could reach to diversify our economy.
But they are hopeful Fréchette will deliver.
I think she's sending a strong signal that Quebec wants to be around the table, and that's important for us. We've been asking Quebec to be more aggressive in being part of the negotiations.
As Quebec's economy is projected to be among the weakest in Canada this year, all eyes are on Fréchette as she makes her first trip to the United States as Premier. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
Quebec MP Alexandre Bouleris is expected to resign from Parliament and leave the NDP so he can run for Québec solidaire. According to sources for Nouveau Info, Bouleris is expected to make the announcement on Monday. Rumors about his political future have been swirling for months, and in February, Québec solidaire changed their party's gender parity regulations so Bouleris could run in Gouin. The riding is currently held by Gabriel Nadeau-Dubois, who won't be running in the next election. The Port of Quebec is getting a new status. Today, Federal Public Works Minister Joel Lightbound said the port is now approved to receive international marine containers. That means more Canada Border Services workers at the port and gives shippers another option to make deliveries to Canadians. But the port has to undergo some work before it's able to handle more cargo.
I'll invite you perhaps to look at the study that was conducted for La Chambre de Commerce Maritime, which points to great gains and efficiencies on the seaway, and also for the region. We have significant job created, millions of dollars in economic windfall.
The Port of Quebec is the oldest port in Canada and the second largest in this province after the Port of Montreal. There was a large police perimeter this morning in Dorval after two men were found stabbed close to the Dorval train station. Here's Matt Grillo.
When police arrived on scene at the Dorval train station, they found a 32-year-old man with injuries to his upper body, possibly by what police call an edged weapon. And not long after that, police say they found another man, a 23-year-old, not far away, who was injured to his lower body. Both men are considered victims and are expected to survive. Police have yet to determine if both incidents are linked.
We'll have to meet with the two victims later on when they'll be able to meet with investigators to know exactly what happened at around 5 a.m. here, not far from the Dorval station.
A large perimeter was set up, forcing trains to skip the Dorval train station, and the passenger tunnel was closed for the morning commute. Crime scene technicians photographed the station, and a canine unit was called.
There's still a lot of questions to be asked and to be answered to know who are those two victims, what were they doing here at around 5 a.m., and what was the reason of the conflict, if it was a third party, or if not, what was the conflict between those two. So there's a lot of questions to be asked to those two people.
Police are expected to meet with the two men sometime today and will also look at surveillance video from the area. Matt Grillo, CTV News.
Quebec City police are investigating the shooting of a teenager. The 16-year-old boy showed up at an emergency room just after 5 o'clock this morning. His injuries are not life-threatening. It's unclear what led to the shooting. A man is in hospital and under arrest after allegedly starting a fire in his own apartment in Verdun. The fire was in a two-story residential building on Moffat Street. It started around 1:15 this afternoon. The fire was contained to the man's apartment. He was taken to hospital for a mental health evaluation. He was not physically hurt. Measles is spreading in Quebec. The 3 most recent cases were detected in Joliette. Public health officials are warning people they may have been exposed on Monday at the Galerie Joliette. Measles is highly contagious, and those most at risk are people born after 1970 who have not been vaccinated. Students at schools across the Greater Montreal area wore mismatched shoes today. It's part of the first ever Impossible Pair push for inclusivity and respect. Christine Long explains.
At Royal West Academy, it was Casual Friday with a kick. 2 kicks, actually, different colored ones.
Our mismatched shoes represent diversity.
Mismatched Pair Day aims to give the boot to bullies.
There's a lot of differences in society, but I think it shows everybody coming together and accepting those differences and, being able to love one another in communities and society.
The initiative is spearheaded by Stephen Bronfman and Andy Nullman, co-founders of PACT, which stands for The Power to Act.
I've been wearing 2 different shoes for a long time, and what it does is it sparks the conversation. People start talking, and nobody does not smile when they hear the reason why we're wearing 2 different shoes, that we can be different yet still get along.
That message is being shared widely as celebrities like Howie Mandel are wearing mismatched shoes and posting it to bring awareness and raise money for the cause. Donations are collected for organizations that fight racism, sexism, cyberbullying, and homophobia. Tame Abood doubled up on the anti-hate message.
Anti-bullying is associated with pink, so I decided to go for a pink outfit. And more than that, I feel like wearing mismatched shoes, it's less more about how it looks, but it's more the deep message behind it.
A deep message that insists on positive change.
We believe our students, our current leaders, our future leaders are the ones that are going to take matters into their own hands, and they're going to make sure that we push forward with an incredible message of hope.
PACT, the power to act, something Brianna Bramante has done.
By taking initiative and either going to the person who did the bullying or the person who was bullied just to see how they're feeling and if they need any outsider opinions or outsider advice.
They agree everyone deserves respect. Christine Long, CTV News.
Coming up, the ripple effect of flight cancellations.
I definitely will not make this mistake again. I will make sure I am double and triple covered.
How the war in Iran is impacting travel plans and travel insurance. And in the U.S., dramatic scenes in the skies as tornadoes sweep through several states. The war in Iran has led to a jet fuel crisis, forcing the cancellation of thousands of flights worldwide. Many travelers are worried about how much money they could lose and whether travel insurance will protect them. Geneviève Beauchemin reports.
Stephanie Halot-Lamoureux booked a dream Baltic family cruise 2 years ago. Now she worries the jet fuel crisis will scrub her flight plans.
I know that Air Canada will give us our money back, but the cruise, No, they won't.
Airlines are responsible for the flights, but not bus tours, cruises, and some travel insurance policies cover those costs, says expert Martin Firestone.
They don't make their cruise. They don't get to their Airbnb rental. They make a claim. They submit the receipts. They get reimbursed. That's now not going to be the way it's going to go.
The jet fuel crisis is now a known cause, and so policies purchased from now on, says Firestone, may not cover events linked to that reason.
You have to be wise enough to figure out your schedule and itineraries to give yourself the days you're going to need if it doesn't leave on the day it was supposed to.
Those who booked prior to the unprecedented crisis could also face roadblocks. Most policies have a war exclusion that voids insurance claims linked to conflicts, and insurers could potentially consider the jet fuel crisis a related cost of the war in the Middle East.
Call the insurer. The policy wording, sometimes it's hard to understand.
CA travel insurance expert Nadia Goyette says checking what your private, group, or credit card insurance covers is key. They may all be very different.
You saved up to pay for that trip from a long time. You don't want to have that all ruined.
L'Amoureuse says all she can do now is hope the flight will take off.
I definitely will not make this mistake again. I will make sure I am double and triple covered.
Experts say it's crucial that travelers understand what their policies cover, but also that they seek advice when necessary and that they pack their patience when they head out on trips now. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
There's a new round of peace talks between the U.S. and Iran planned for this weekend. The White House confirmed today that U.S. Special Envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will head to Pakistan tomorrow.
We hope progress will be made, and we hope that positive developments will come from this meeting, and we will see. And the president, the vice president, the secretary of state will be waiting here in the United States for updates.
Witkoff and Kushner will meet with Iran's foreign minister in Islamabad. Vice President J.D. Vance will be on standby to travel there if talks progress. President Trump has extended the current ceasefire indefinitely. Meanwhile, Trump says a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon will be extended. After diplomatic talks at the White House, Trump said the truce will continue for another 3 weeks. It was set to expire on Monday. A U.S. Special Forces soldier involved in the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has been arrested. He's accused of pocketing $400,000 by betting on the timing of the top-secret raid before it even happened. According to the indictment, Master Sergeant Gannon Ken Van Dyke opened an account on Polymarket in late December. He used the popular prediction market platform to wager $33,000 on when Maduro would be removed from power. Prosecutors say Van Dyke was involved in the planning and execution of the operation and had access to classified information before he placed the bet. Fierce and destructive weather tore through parts of the U.S. yesterday. There were dramatic scenes like these ones in Oklahoma.
Dude, look at this. Look at this.
More than a dozen tornadoes were reported in multiple states. Houses and entire neighborhoods were completely flattened. At least 10 people were injured. The Red Cross is mobilizing to help residents recover. Still ahead, top talent.
Cass is successful in the classroom and was successful on the floor. So there was no doubt in my mind that she will be getting to her dream.
A Montreal-born basketball player on her way to the big leagues. And figuring out finances, how Ontario high school students are getting a head start.
For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV News app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca.
Okay, so it's time to get back to Game 3 tonight at the Bell Centre between the Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And joining us is Brendan Kelly, the Montreal Gazette's What the Puck columnist and author of the book Habs Nation, A People's History of the Montreal Canadiens. Welcome to the show, Brendan.
Thanks for the invite, Maya.
Well, I absolutely wanted to talk to you. I read your last column. I have to know, have you recovered from the disappointment of the last game?
You know, it was a downer, eh? I mean, Sunday night there was euphoria in the air with that first win, and it was tough. But you know what? I was fine with it. I mean, if it's a playoff series, it's a best of 7. You knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I mean, I think the disappointment Tuesday night was they could have won that game so easily. They were up 2-1 just before the end. And then goes into overtime. They just need to score, and they didn't. So you're disappointed, but you know what? Yeah, it's like as a fan, you're like a player. You get back up, you dust yourself off, and you know, like I was talking to fans. That's my whole thing is fan culture, and we were like, it's okay, We're gonna win. We have this.
Okay, so they're cool. They're confident.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they have to win tonight. I think if they lose tonight, I think that's where people will get really, really down, because then it'll be 2-1 for Tampa. But you know what? The atmosphere tonight, I mean, you know that. Every person in Montreal knows that. It's funny because it was a Friday night, the first game at home last season during the playoffs with the Washington Capitals. And oh my, the mood was electric in the Bell Center that night. And that was the one game that Montreal ended up winning. And so it's going to be the extra player, the 7th player is going to be those 20,000 fans. I mean, I just can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, the home ice advantage, of course, but it's all still very stressful. I mean, I have to admit, I'm not someone who watches hockey all of the time, but, you know, you can't get help but swept up in the hype during the playoffs. So, of course, I'm watching. I find it extremely stressful.
Oh, no, it totally is. I was at doubles for game 2, and I heard this guy say to one of his friends, oh, man, I'm so stressed out. You know, and I think it was 2-1 at that point for Montreal. It is very stressful. And if you don't get stressed, you're not alive. I mean, this is the whole thing. It's not, you're not supposed to just relax. That can be a game in November. But the playoffs, you got to be dialed in like the players. And that's the fun. Because actually, I talked to that guy afterwards, and he said, yeah, I'm stressed, but that's the fun of it, you know? I mean, that's the whole point, is it's so exciting. And there's so much on the line.
Yeah, that emotional roller coaster. And also to know that you're experiencing it live with other people at the same time. That's kind of cool, too, that collective experience.
100%. I mean, I love, and it's not just because I'm doing these call-ins for the Gazette, I love going out to bars and watching with people, and there's something magic about that. But it can even be in your house and watching with people, and watching it at the same time, and people tweeting you, and you have to watch it live. I mean, you don't watch it on tape. I mean, this is it's happening in the here and now. And you know, like both games have gone into overtime. It's like you know that the intermission before overtime, you're on edge. You know, you really are, and it's super exciting. I mean, watching the play, and you know what we haven't had playoffs in Montreal since 2021. Even then was kind of that weird COVID year. Yeah. There hasn't been a lot other than that. There hasn't been a lot of playoff success for a long time. Now we've got this really team with so much promise. People are so excited about these young stars like Suzuki and Caulfield and Slavkovsky and Hudson and Demidov. So people are really pumped and feeling, even if they don't go far this year, that they'll be in the playoffs, you know, likely in the years to come. And so there's a buzz, right? There's that excitement, and it's tense. It's not just like sitting home watching Netflix.
No, it's a completely different experience. And I just quickly before we wrap up, I know you mentioned in your column you saw some people actually leaving the bar before after it went into overtime, and you couldn't believe it. I mean, if it goes into overtime tonight, like, people stay. You got to see what happens.
Well, that's it. It would be like you're at the Bell Center and you're like, oh, it's overtime. Oh, honey, let's go. You know, the babysitter's at home or whatever. I mean, come on. A bunch of these people, like I would say 25% of the people at this Mile End bar at doubles left after 3 periods when it's tied. I mean, why'd you even bother coming? I mean, it's like totally, you're not a real fan. I was kind of like shocked by this, you know. It's like, what's the point of going all the way to overtime? Overtime is where it's at, and it might
that's
be,
where it's all happening.
2 hours, that's it.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll see what happens, and if we go into OT again tonight. Thanks, Brandon. It was great talking to you.
Thanks, Maya. See you.
Enjoy the game. Well, it's a dream come true for a U.S. college football star from Ottawa. Last night, Akeem Mesidor got picked in the first round of the NFL draft.
With the 22nd pick in the 2026 NFL draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Akeem Mesidor, linebacker, Miami.
Mesidor is heading to Los Angeles. The Chargers picked the 25-year-old 22nd overall. Mesidor was a standout defensive lineman at the University of Miami. He is the 6th Canadian-born player to be taken in the first round. Meantime, a basketball player from Montreal is on her way to the pros. Cassandra Prosper honed her skills during her high school years in Ottawa, then moved on to Notre Dame. Kimberly Fowler has that story.
From Capitol Courts to the U.S. Capitol.
With the 19th pick in the 2026 WNBA draft, the Washington Mystics select Cassandra Prosper from the University of Notre Dame.
Cassandra Prosper is heading to the WNBA.
My goals have always been, get to the W, and now I got to figure out, other goals now that I'm here.
At 17, the Montreal-born basketball star moved to Ottawa to take her game to the next level, enrolling in Capitol Courts Academy and playing for Corrine Wilson Secondary School.
They had a great Capitol Courts Academy that was going to be able to challenge me, and I was going to be able to grow as a player.
Her coaches saw something special early on.
Cass is successful in the classroom and was successful on the floor. So there was no doubt in my mind that she will be getting to her dream.
From Ottawa, Prosper enrolled early at the University of Notre Dame. She also represented Canada on the Olympic stage in 2024. After a breakout senior year with the Fighting Irish, Prosper decided to forego her final year of college to enter the WNBA draft.
Making that decision for myself, I was like, this is my last year in college, and I want to finish college in a way that I'm proud of and in a way that I know I gave my everything to my training. And then that summer, I got a mental coach, but I also went and trained in LA with my brother for 2 weeks.
And basketball runs deep in the family. Her brother, Omax Olivia Maxence Prosper, plays for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Prosper's three is through.
Along with the family on draft day, Coach Fab, who helped shape her career, also living her dream.
This was the script she was writing right now with the chapter that she had with us. And she was going to continue chapter 2 at Notre Dame. And next thing you know, when she gave me a call saying, hey, Coach Fab, do you want to come to the draft? And I'm like, oh, yes, I'm coming.
And now the next chapter begins in Washington, D.C., when Prosper suits up for the Washington Mystics next month. Kimberly Fowler, CTV News.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff's second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for a limited time.
Well, we woke up to a temperature of 5 degrees, but things did warm up from there. And here's where we are sitting right now in the southern Quebec area. So we're seeing a temperature of 6 in Sherbrooke, but 12 degrees for those of us in Mirabel and the Montreal area. That is spot on with our expected high for today. Now, we are still expecting to break into the 20s by the end of this weekend, but I do want to point to our normal low for this time. So that number is now sitting at 4 degrees, and that said, we are expecting a bit of a cooler night this evening, a low of 2 coming along with clouds clearing over to clear skies. Good news for tomorrow morning. Expecting that wake up temperature of 3, but lots of sunshine pouring in once again. We are forecasting mainly sunny skies, so some clouds rolling in for the afternoon tomorrow, but with a warm daytime high of 14 degrees. That is perfectly seasonal and setting our future cast in motion. We see again lots of clear skies there for the southern Quebec area. Now at about 2 p.m. Tomorrow is when we start to see some clouds coming in. They clear out though again as we head into Sunday, and on Sunday temperature wise we could be even warmer. So forecasting a daytime high of 18 degrees, 21 potentially on Monday, 22 to come on Tuesday. So beautiful conditions to enjoy if you are are headed out. Now, you are going to want to make the most of that. Pointing out a warmer night on Tuesday with that low of 11, and then we get to some possible showers coming back into the forecast. So on Wednesday, we're seeing roughly 6 millimeters of rain coming in. On Thursday, we could be looking at roughly 3. So you want to keep that in mind if you're headed out. Insofar as the daytime highs, though, continuing with those temperatures in the teens, 17 degrees expected on Wednesday, 12 on Thursday, and then potentially a cooler Friday.
Ticketmaster Canada is moving to cap resale prices starting next week, at least in Ontario. In a statement, the company says it supports Ontario's new legislation, which will cap resale prices at the ticket's face value. The company says it has delisted resale tickets on its platform, and sellers will be able to relist them next week in compliance with the new law. Police are warning people, especially seniors, to be vigilant. They're anticipating a rise in so-called distraction thefts. In Ottawa, 2 victims were robbed, one right after the other. Caitlin Wilson reports.
This video capturing the moment after Sang-La says he was robbed. You can see him running, chasing after what appears to be a dark-colored BMW just before 2:30 Monday. He was taking out the garbage behind his restaurant on Somerset Street West when he says 2 men pulled up trying to hand him something.
It's like a gold chain, and then they offered it to him.
No.
He rejected it.
No.
He said no, and he walked this way.
His daughter, who's translating for him, says that's when things escalated. He says one of the men grabbed him, choked him before taking off with his necklace.
My mom's mom gave it to him, and he's been wearing it for 20 years.
20 years.
20 years, and he also attached his wedding ring. He is a bit shooken up, I would say, a bit traumatized.
3 hours later at the Billingsbridge Walmart, Marie Robert says she was targeted in a similar way.
There was a vehicle coming up from...
She says she was approached by 3 people in a vehicle. A woman asked for help, then tried to hand her a gold chain to say thanks.
A minute or 2 later, she reached out, pulled me by the back of my neck. When I pulled back, her finger got loose. My chain left my neck. She ripped it off my neck.
A present from her late husband. Police say they are seeing more of these so-called distraction thefts, but can't confirm if these cases are connected.
Keep your distance and be alert. Make eye contact with them. If they get too close, tell them to stay back. We do know that there are groups that move through the province. Are they all connected? I don't know that, but they are professionals.
For both victims, it's not just what was taken, it's what it meant. The jewelry, sentimental and worth thousands of dollars.
That was the last thing my ex-husband ever bought for me. I can't get that back.
We're grateful that, he is okay and healthy. These people need to be stopped.
Caitlin Wilson, CTV News.
Learning how to manage money will soon be a mandatory part of Ontario's high school curriculum. Starting this fall, students in grade 10 will have to pass a financial literacy test to be able to graduate. Tyler Fleming has the details.
For 17-year-old Noah Bertrand, money already matters.
You're starting to actually have expenses and things you have to pay for.
He works part-time and plans to study commerce and says learning the basics should be mandatory in high school.
The sort of transition between high school and the sort of real world, knowing a lot of that stuff about taxes and interest is very important.
Right now, learning about financial literacy is optional, but starting in September, students will need to pass a test in grade 10, scoring at least 70% to graduate.
I think it's a great idea.
The province says it's about balancing the books early, teaching teens how to budget, save, invest, and avoid scams. Parent Gaetan Purdy says it's long overdue.
When I was in high school, they did not teach that, so I think this program will help the kids help what we did our day-to-day lives financially.
The latest data from Statistics Canada shows younger Canadians carry nearly $1.70 owed for every dollar earned. Debts tied to school loans, credit cards, and car payments.
When you have knowledge about how your finances work, you can put guardrails in to say, okay, if things start going sideways, what do I do?
Money touches every part of life, and experts say learning discipline early is a skill young adults can take to the bank.
And they'll be able to say no to a lot of these things because you're exposed to it 24/7 now with your phones, which is good for merchandisers, not so good for consumers. So you have to know how to say no. And I think that's a big thing too with the literacy, is knowing what your limitations are.
Yeah, I've got a bit of like money put away, RESPs and all that.
For Bertrand, the calculation is simple. Understanding money now can pay out down the road. Tyler Fleming, CTV News.
Still to come, exploring virtual reality.
I noticed change in self-confidence.
How a new program is helping seniors with dementia stay active. Plus, cash for cards. How much a rare set of hockey cards went for at a Quebec auction.
Menswear provided by Ernest. Elevate your style with Ernest. Your Health, brought to you by Gratian Scaff. Second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for a limited time.
A new virtual reality program is helping seniors with dementia stay active. Researchers at Wilfrid Laurier University are working to make exercise both fun and therapeutic. Spencer Turcott reports.
I'm reading my instructions.
It may look like a video game, but for some seniors living with dementia, it's a chance to reconnect. Inside the Adult Recreation Therapy Center in Brantford, 84-year-old Donna Nowacki slips on a virtual reality headset and suddenly she's no longer in the room. She's on the water.
Tricky, he moves. He takes turns very quickly.
Wilfrid Laurier University researchers watch along as her experience plays out in real time on a nearby TV. The game is called Seize the Day, and unlike other VR games, it's designed specifically to get older adults moving while sparking memories and engagement.
Participants can be engaged doing certain activities that we know they miss. We know they like doing. We know that they have been there before.
With movements like rowing, fishing, reaching, users build strength and coordination. But for those with dementia, the benefits go deeper. The immersive scenes are designed to feel familiar, calming, even nostalgic.
We have a cottage on Lake Erie, and so it did remind me of some of the lake activities that we did there.
We're doing it in a way that is therapeutically correct, as opposed to something that will potentially generate an injury.
Each motion is carefully designed alongside therapists, gradually increasing intensity without overwhelming the user. And there's a playful side too.
The one I caught 12 fish once. Yeah, 12 fish.
The game encourages users to beat their own score, turning therapy into something they actually want to do. For researchers, that motivation is key. Traditional rehab can feel repetitive, but this approach keeps people coming back.
I noticed change in self-confidence.
But the goal is much bigger than this room.
I'm collaborating with Sick Kids Hospital in a very similar project, in this case for children with ADHD.
While this session is focused on seniors with dementia, researchers say the same technology could be adapted for stroke recovery and children's mental health, turning exercise into escape and moments into memories. Spencer Turcott, CTV News, Brantford.
Following in the footsteps of Artemis II crew member Jeremy Hansen, another Canadian astronaut is set to make his first space flight. Joshua Kutrick will be heading to the International Space Station later this year, joining NASA's SpaceX Crew 13. The 44-year-old from Alberta will live and work on board the ISS for about 6 months and become the first Canadian to be part of NASA's Commercial Crew program.
Business News, brought to you by Au Vieux de Loup, where memories and meals come together.
The federal government has approved Enbridge's plan to expand a natural gas pipeline in BC. Marilla Fernandez has more.
The Sunrise project will expand the capacity of the West Coast pipeline system by 17%. That's about 300 million cubic feet more a day. The build-out expected to add about $3 billion to the Canadian economy and aligns with Ottawa's push to make Canada an energy superpower. Construction expected to begin in the summer. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 73.18. West Texas Intermediate is down 94 cents to 94.91. Western Canadian Select up $1.80 to 74.85. And the TSX lost 8 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
A Quebec auction house has sold a rare set of early hockey cards for nearly $500,000. The 45-card set was sold Tuesday night by Classic Auctions, based in Delson, Quebec. The card set was likely given away as a promotional item to the players' families and friends. It features some of the earliest Hockey Hall of Famers wearing the jerseys of the teams of the time, including the Quebec Bulldogs.
They're very important. There's no doubt about it. They're from players from the turn of the century. So it's a complete set of 45 cards featuring very important players like George Vezina, who they've named a Vezina Trophy out of, featuring Art Ross. The Art Ross Trophy is named after him. So it's they feature players from the dawn of the game and very important players from early in the game of hockey.
The set is believed to be one of only a handful known to exist worldwide. Laval ComicCon is coming up this weekend. There will be comics, of course, and collectibles at Place Belle, along with a heavy dose of anime. There will also be a K-pop Demon Hunter tribute band and a masquerade costume contest for kids. But spokesperson Jason Rockman said the biggest draw is the cosplayers who dress up like their favorite characters.
So a lot of the cosplay is very anime centric and anime focused, which is fun to see. So we have an anime show in Ottawa that we've been doing for a few years, and but we always see a lot of anime cosplayers. So I think Laval will be fun for that. You know, we've got a few guests, we've got some concerts. So we've got the vibe of what we do in Montreal, but on a smaller scale. So it's almost like an appetizer. If you've never, gone in for the full meal, it's great to try out Laval.
And time now to check in with Caroline. We just saw Jason Rockman there in his Habs jersey. Of course, you'll be watching the game tonight. And I saw the Habs flag on your desk earlier. So I know you're all set to cheer for the team.
I am all set to cheer for the team. The Habs flag is behind me on my desk, ready to go. We're ordering pizza. We are ready to go here. And yes, I will be watching the game tonight. But I'll also be listening to our neighbors on the other side of the wall behind me, because that's where RDS is, and we know what's going on without even watching the game, just by listening to the cheers and groans from our colleagues. But of course, Kelly Gregg will be down at the Bell Center with us. She will join us at 11:30 live tonight to give us all the action from there. And Maya, I just want to say, last game I wore red from head to toe. Kelly was in a red dress. Tonight, neither one of us is wearing any red. So hopefully we have a win tonight. But either way, it's not our fault. Go Habs, go. Let's hope we have a win, though.
Yeah, let's hope so. I'm wearing a teeny bit of red, but I hope that doesn't influence the outcome of the game. Go Habs, go.
All right.
All right, thanks, Caroline. In Washington State, a woman did something very scary, and she may have set a record doing it. Here's Danny New.
You are watching a potentially record-setting skydive by a daredevil who does not have control of her arms, legs, or tongue.
What was the speed she hit?
125 miles an hour, I believe.
Whoa, Tanya.
Over the weekend, Tanya Finlayson, who has cerebral palsy, jumped from nearly 18,000 feet and reached 125 miles per hour. Upon confirmation, those should both be Washington state records for what is called a drogue fall, which is basically a tandem jump.
Look right on target. Look how close she was.
When Tanya landed, her husband, Ken, was waiting to celebrate with her.
It feels really special and honestly a bit surreal.
I sent questions ahead of time to Tanya, who uses a communication system she helped create called the Tandem Master. Essentially, sensors interpret the back of her head's movements in Morse code.
What do you enjoy about skydiving?
Skydiving feels like freedom to me. For a little while, I am not defined by my disability or the obstacles I face on the ground.
In fact, skydiving is also what brought Tanya and Ken together, who, like many couples in the late 90s, started messaging on AOL before running into each other at a drop zone. While Ken says he was a little hesitant at first.
It's a little bit intimidating, but as I got to know her, her strengths outshine her weaknesses very quickly.
And on Friday, nearly 30 years later, Tanya had Ken and their son by her side in the plane. Technically, Ken and Michael jumped out about 5,000 feet earlier, but this was their first jump together as a family.
Skydiving is one of the rare experiences where we can all fully participate side by side, and that means everything to me.
Up next, Tanya told me she has some ideas for pulling off a solo jump without her tandem instructor. She said, quote, "This is what life is about, continuing to reach for what feels possible." In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Wow, so for the fans outside the Bell Center, great night.
That's right, and there's more sunshine to enjoy too. Sun sets at 7:52 tonight. Then we're looking at clear skies, a low of 2 degrees for the evening. For tomorrow, we're expecting a high of 14, so perfectly seasonal, and we are seeing those temperatures rising from there through the weekend. Maya?
Thanks, Anastasia. Here's some images from outside the Bell Center. Have a great evening.